morning. Thank you for joining us. Glad that you decided to be with us again. We thank God for all his love, his mercy, his grace. The Bible says his mercy endureth forever. How does that happen? Well, he's got mercy on us, and then we have eternal life, so that mercy endures forever. If that makes sense. That's not what I'm going to talk about today. I just thought I'd share that with you in the opening here. But we're actually going to continue with the 27th Psalm, which I have told you that it's one of my favorite Psalms. It's a Psalm I usually actually go over every day. I said usually there's maybe a day here and there that I don't, but I normally it's part of my ritual, my start of my day, the 26th Psalm, Psalm 103, along with others. I always pray, which I have encouraged you to ask the Lord to forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us, create in us a clean heart, renew a right spirit within us. Always do the not as a religious act, but as a form of a renewing of our hearts and our minds, a combination of our prayers and a combination of his word. And like this psalm where you weave the word in with your prayers, or you pray the scriptures, or even if you like, you can read it directly in your prayers, which I do that sometimes. But we're going to continue from the fourth verse of the 27th Psalm. We went through the other ones last week, and I touched this verse, but we didn't get into it deep. We didn't go deep into it, but verse 4 says, "One thing have I desired of the Lord, that will I seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord and to inquire in his temple." As you know, that there was no temple for King David. The Lord didn't allow him to build the temple. His son, King Solomon, ended up building a magnificent temple that eventually got destroyed. Another one got rebuilt, got remodeled. Then that one got destroyed, and now that where that temple did sit is what you know as the Temple Mount, that gold dome that you see in pictures in Israel, in Jerusalem. There, that it's still there, and the land that it sits on, not the land that it sits on, that where King David said, "I will not give anything to the Lord that doesn't cost me," because the person that originally had that land was willing to give it to King David. He said, "No, I'm going to purchase it." And the threshing floor, they could see still that where that, they would take and grind wheat. It's still on there. You could see evidence of that exact thing thousands of years ago that's still sitting there today. But there was no temple. Well, so when King David says that I will seek after that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life. Well, we don't go, there's no temple over there now, of course. We have what you could call here the physical temple. You could call a gathering place a temple, but this is also a temple. And we could dwell with the Lord inside of our temples, inside of us, that we seek to dwell there. But let me touch this, because I know what somebody can do with that, or someone can do with that, is say, "Oh, there is no need to go to the literal house of the Lord." But the Bible does say, it says, don't forsake assembling together. Don't forsake it, especially in the days of our time, in the last days, to not forsake it. It says, don't forsake it. Because assembling together, coming together, meeting together in the physical realm, there is something that that happens when we come together. And I wanted to bring that and us to understand that because I'm talking about the every day of our life that we're not walking into a literal temple like this house here every day, but every day we seek after to commune with God, to have communion with Him. But at the same time, we do come to the physical house of the Lord. We should come to the physical house of the Lord. As King David said, that he will seek after. One thing have I desired of the Lord, that will I seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord and to inquire in his temple. That he seeks after. As you know, I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the house of the Lord. And again, getting back to what I said earlier as far as rituals, processes, uh, repetition of our days, every day of our lives, that we have a desire to commune with God, to walk into his house, into his temple. And I know that people can not see the value of that, not see the value of coming into his house. Yes, the value, the worth, the privilege, as I say, we get to. Not that we have to, we get to. We get to come into his house of worship. I don't know how people do it without coming to his house. I don't. Since I've known the Lord, I have not stopped coming to his house. Even during COVID, um, we were still coming in. I know that there was a lot of shutdown, and this is how this program was birthed right here. Was COVID? It was birthed out of that because I would come and do this, and then we started. We would do a worship service, and I would do this, and we continued that. So that is over 4 years ago now, and we started doing this. But so I never stopped, and I remember in the height of COVID, when it was like really going hard, and we would come and the singers would sing, and we'd have service. There wouldn't be there was only myself and the worship team and a couple other people that would sit out there. Occasionally, I did extend invitations to some people that I just knew was like they would love to come in and worship. Not that I wasn't allowing anyone to. We weren't here at the time at this exact location. We were in another location where we weren't allowed to have service. I know people might want to argue about that. I don't want to argue about it, but I would invite people here and there to come sit in, and they would just soak it up. They would soak up that opportunity to come into the house of the Lord. When I came in today, there was a young lady in here, and I said, "Oh," she's like, "Pastor," and I just kind of asked, "Oh," out of curiosity, what she was doing. She goes, "Oh, well, I just want to be in here and the peace that's here." And I was like, "Oh, I get it. I totally get it." So it's that literally just happened not that long ago today, and I get it. My wife comes over here all the time. She'll make her way over here, and so that she can just come in here and she'll pray. And sometimes I'll ask her, "Oh, where are you going?" She, "Oh, I'm going down to the church to pray." this is something she does. She desires to do that because she sees the value. She sees the worth. Sometimes what happens in this here, we'll get people walk through in off hours. They'll sit here and they get tears in their eyes. And sometimes when somebody starts coming that hasn't came here before, they'll cry. They'll cry. That could be for 4 Sundays, 8 Sundays, 10 Sundays. But eventually what happens is they come and they don't cry like that anymore. But what it is that initial introduction to his presence, the Lord's presence that dwells in his house. That initial introduction, and they sense it and it moves them. So why does it go away? Well, what happens is you grow into it. I don't want to say numb or callous. You just, as you spend more time entertaining his presence, there's a shift there that you go through. I'm going a little deep here. The way you respond and react. If you don't cry, I'm not going to say that as a criticism. And if you do cry, I'm not going to say that as a criticism. My wife, she'll still have tears in her eyes any given time being in the house here. That's how she engages there. And myself, watching it when I'm ministering live, which is way different than what I'm doing right now. And I'll see in people's eyes as they get watery in the Lord's presence. The Lord's presence in Africa, that would happen as I'm ministering. That the same thing would happen over there. It's just something that tends to happen in when I minister. That is more, not that I'm looking to do that. I don't come up and say that's not my intentions. I know some people criticize that, but to me, it's something's being moved in people. It's being moved. And I'm not against the other, which we'll get into later in this psalm, of the singing the praises and lifting our voices that King David talks about in his tabernacle. Or even laughter. Opening our voices up, shedding tears, laughing. They all could be a form of us opening up and engaging at the same time, just like many things in our life. They can be a blessing or they can be a curse. We can laugh at the wrong things at the wrong time. We can lift our voices the wrong way, wrong time. We could cry the wrong way. What's crying the wrong way? What might be crying the wrong way? Crying the wrong way is to feel sorry for ourselves. To feel sorry for ourselves is to cry the wrong way. As far as compared to tears of thanksgiving, tears of joy, tears of gratitude. It's different than tears of feeling sorry for yourself. They're not the same. Laughing at the wrong thing or laughing at somebody the wrong way as compared to laughing in a joyful way. It's opening up our hearts. It's opening up our souls. And it's what I call engaging. Engaging. I like to use that term to relay the thought to people to engage with the Lord, to engage with one another in a healthy way, as compared to what? To not engage, to disconnect, to pull away, to disengage, to not connect because we don't see the value of engaging with the Lord. We don't see the value of walking into his temple, into his tabernacle. Another area I'll differ from people that minister like myself, where I'll differ. I don't believe in begging people to worship the Lord. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in begging people uh, to serve the Lord. Yes, I don't. The reason I don't believe in begging, because if you beg them, you devalue his presence. We did by doing that, where we beg people, we sell them in a certain way to come to the house of the Lord. I look at it as it's a privilege we get to. And if people can't see the value in it, they can't see the worth. If I cheapen it, I lessen it, I discount it, I Black Friday it, I dollar store it, I second hand store it, I garage sale it, I yard sale it, I offer up it, however you look at it. And offer up's a platform you go buy used stuff. But his presence isn't to be discounted, closing the store sale. No. His presence is priceless. Engaging with him is priceless. Having a relationship with him is priceless. That's why King David says, one thing I desire and I will seek after is to dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to inquire in his temple. Yes, King David, seeing the value. I said past tense. He saw the value. He saw the value. He lived the value of his presence. King David understood that. That's why King Saul, who was tormented, he was a tormented soul, that he would bring in King David to minister to him, because that presence would follow King David and it would minister to King Saul. But King Saul couldn't understand staying in that presence. He couldn't see the value, the worth. And King Saul even said this, that he feared the people. He feared the people. He said it to the prophet Samuel, I feared the people. That's why he would do the wrong thing, because he feared the people. There's a whole message there. To fear the people and do the wrong thing, instead of being like King David and said, one thing that I desired and I'll seek after is being in his presence, if I could say it that way. I need his presence. I want his presence. The value, the worth, and understanding that. So some people can't see it. They can't see the value. Now, sometimes people find themselves in a difficult place and they come into the house of worship. Other times, maybe they're grateful and they come into the house of worship. But other times, they may just throw it away. But then there's some that say, all the days of my life, I will seek after it. I encourage you to be like that you seek after his presence all the days of your life, that you see the value, you see the worth in it, that you look forward to engaging, to having supplication with the Lord. We're coming into the Thanksgiving week. And I enjoy Thanksgiving. I think Thanksgiving literally and figuratively is a good thing. It's not a week of fasting. It's a week of feasting. It's a day we enjoy giving thanks, and we all have our big Thanksgiving dinners. It's a time for Thanksgiving, and what tends to happen is you get groups gathering together. They come together this week, which is a good thing. Which on the other side is say, let's pray and fast. We're going to have prayer and fast. I'm not saying this week, of course. I'm just saying prayer and fasting time. You will not get the numbers for prayer and fasting that you get for Thanksgiving, literally the eating and feasting parts. Many people will come and feast. Few will come to fast. It says, well, if that's such a good thing, shouldn't we just do that all the time? That's the thinking. But fasting and prayer doesn't take away from feasting and gathering. It actually complements it. It makes it sweeter. It makes it better. It doesn't lower the value of it. It raises the value of it. See, some people think eating discipline ruins our eating. It doesn't ruin it. It actually enhances it. It enhances it. That you eat with discipline. You eat with self-control. And when those days come to feast, you can enjoy it in a different way. Or as I might say, and this may not go over well, you earn it. You earn the right to indulge with the food. Now, some people they indulge every day, every day, every day, and I've had many people say they don't believe in fasting. Oh, and again, why might that be? They don't see the value. They don't see the work. Now, I look at my grandsons. I get it. Uh, they're not going to be someone to fast. It's not healthy for them at their age of their life. Now, they can stay away from sweets and all those other things, and that does happen. But they're going to eat every day, even when we fast. People that are real sickly, they're struggling to survive with a sickness, they need to eat. And at different stages, we can use common sense there. I'll say common sense. But for most people, they should be able to go a day without eating 24 hours. They should be able to do that. Say, well, I don't believe in that. But what that does do is it doesn't lessen the Thanksgiving for us. It enhances it. It enhances it. I know I've shared this, but when I went through a long water fast, and I was never big with onions. I never was. But something happened going through long water fast. The desire for onions just became something for me, and now I really enjoy onions. It's I they there's a value to it to me, and not only just onions. I like them raw, like raw onions, and it that that bite and that sensation of it that I had no care for prior to it. The reason I'm sharing that something happened to my ability to enjoy that flavor. That, like I said, uh, same thing with some form of vinegar. That not a lot of vinegar, of course, but that that touch of it. One of my grandsons, he's 5, and he likes onions. He likes that vinegary, that that hit. When he was like 2, he would imitate me putting chili on a burrito, and he started doing it. He'll go spicy, spicy, hot, hot, hot. But he enjoys. He likes the hot wings, kind of spicy. But he said, well, what's the big deal there? A child has what I believe it's 20,000 more taste buds than an adult. So they really get um, an experience that we lose as adults because our taste buds actually dull as we get older. A lot of people don't realize that. But getting back to fasting, the fasting helps to bring back those childish, those taste buds that it's like you could think about something you ate as a child and it just doesn't hit the same as an adult because our taste buds are different. But fasting helps to liven them up, to bring them back to life. But it doesn't take away from Thanksgiving feasting. But we don't want to just feast. We want to fast. We want to enjoy fellowship, but we want to fellowship with his presence. So I'm going to leave you with this. I only got this one scripture in today. That's all right. No pressure. I want to leave you with this. See the value of being in his presence. See the value of seeking the Lord. See the value of walking into his tabernacle, into his temple, into his presence. See the value. Own the value. Embrace the value. Don't cheapen it. Don't discount it, because it's priceless. Thank you for joining us on this Sunday morning. If you're watching us on a different day, that's all right. We'll be back here in person, 1363 South Vineyard in Mesa, Arizona, 85210, 12 o'clock noon Arizona time. We will actually be fellowshipping after having what they call Friendsgiving. You're welcome to join us. Thank you for being with us. Oh, if you'd like to bless us financially, there should be some ways on the screen. Thankfulness, we'll be thankful. It helps us to do all this here. And thank you again, and have a blessed